Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be reviewing the new Rare Beauty Positive Light Tinted Moisturizer, and we're going to be doing a full 2-day wear test on this one. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so I don't typically go for tinted moisturizer products. I certainly prefer more medium coverage, medium to full coverage, but I thought we would give this one a try. I've been impressed with some of the products I've tried from Rare Beauty so far. I certainly haven't tried a ton, but I thought we would give this one a go. So this describes itself as a weightless tinted moisturizer that instantly blurs and hydrates skin with light to medium coverage and a natural finish. So we're going to see about that. So as usual for my 2-day wear test, day 1 I'm not going to do any powder, anything to kind of help it along. I'm just going to try the product by itself, see what happens, and then tomorrow I will do all of my usual stuff. So this is the bottle. It's very cute, and as per all of her products, it's got this little flatter side. It's more indented over here, but it's got this flatter side so you can actually just lay it on your desk. And full disclosure, this is not the first time I am trying this product. I did try this yesterday, so I'll kind of share my thoughts on that as we're putting this on. But I picked up the shade 12C, so light with a cooler undertone, and I'll just tell you, it's a little too light. So it does come in this cute little squeeze bottle. This usually isn't my preference, but it's a tinted moisturizer. I am going to apply it with a sponge, and like I mentioned, it's a little too light, but I can always fix it with bronzer. I'm really kind of surprised at the shade range because with any foundation I do tend to be in the lightest shades. So that was kind of weird, and it was light with cool undertones. It wasn't even described as fair, and this is incredibly fair. Okay, so one thing I did differently yesterday was I definitely, I tried applying with a brush and I really didn't get much coverage. I tried it with my hands, which we know I hate, and that really didn't do anything either. With the sponge seems to be the best way for me to apply this one, and I'm noticing, comparing side by side, it definitely evened out my skin tone. It definitely toned down any redness. Super light coverage, but it definitely looks like a product that it's just going to help you look a little more pulled together, and it's definitely a no makeup kind of product, which is fine. Sometimes that's what you're looking for, and that's perfectly fine. I do have to do a little bit of spot concealing. I've been having some super fun stress breakouts. I do find the sponge does suck up a lot of product, but at the same time I really got the best result when I tried this yesterday with a sponge. So that is my preferred method of application with this one. And even though it's a little bit too light for my face, it actually kind of matches my neck, so it's fine. I will just add some spot concealing and some bronzer to kind of give me a little bit more life. It doesn't seem to be grabbing or pilling or anything like that, which is a good sign. I did notice by the end of the day yesterday that it was looking a little dry, so that is a concern of mine. However, yesterday I did powder it down. I'm just trying to see if we can get a little bit more buildable coverage. Yeah, I was able to build it a little bit better, but it's I'm not seeing how you could ever get like a medium coverage out of this. It definitely seems to have a radiant finish, particularly right in the middle, and it dries down quite comfortably on the skin. Like, it doesn't feel tacky. It just sort of feels, it does feel like you just put moisturizer on. Like, it's got a certain feel to it, but it's not tacky. Okay, let me pop off camera, do the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Alright guys, so just a super simple, fresh makeup today. So far, I really like this. I think it definitely has a radiant finish. It feels super comfortable on the skin. It looks very skin-like, so I really like that. It's not clinging to any dry patches yet. I'm a little skeptical because it was yesterday, but we'll definitely try it out and see. I still believe for sure that the sponge is the best method in my opinion, but we'll see how this goes. But I will see you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, so we are now at the end of the day. The makeup has been on for about 9 hours, which is definitely less than I intended. But looking at the makeup more closely, my chin we're gonna ignore because I touch it way too much. My forehead still looks really, really good. I notice when I look really, really closely at my cheeks that the tinted moisturizer seems to have kind of settled into my pores a little bit, which I don't really like. I don't like that at all, but at the same time, it's not something you're going to be able to tell unless you're super, super close to my face, and nobody's going to do that, so nobody's going to notice that other than me. Yeah, I do feel like it's worn off quite a bit. I do feel like I haven't really, I don't really have much left on my skin, but at the same time, I didn't use anything to sort of help it out today either. The one nice thing about wearing such a light coverage product is that it does tend to wear off much more gracefully than certain other things. Like, I don't feel like my redness and my imperfections are certainly showing a lot more than they were this morning when I initially put this on, but it's definitely not wearing off quite as obviously as some more full coverage products perhaps would. So that's a plus. I'm very interested to try this out tomorrow. So as usual, tomorrow is going to be more of my usual routine. I am going to do a pore filling primer to see if it helps with that, because so far that's the only thing that I really don't like. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like. I noticed it did not cling to my dry patches like it did yesterday, so I'm thinking that maybe I just really shouldn't powder it. Maybe I should only powder the perimeter of my face and not the center, which is perfectly fine. And yeah, I think I just need like a pore filling primer, maybe a setting spray, and to see if we can kind of elongate the wear of this one. Otherwise, this is a really nice product so far. This is definitely very lightweight, very skin-like, very no makeup, but it's quite nice. It's definitely a very low maintenance product, but I have really enjoyed it so far. I am definitely excited to try it out again tomorrow, and with more of my steps, maybe we can elongate the wear time. But so far, the only things I don't like are the not very long wear time, but also that it was kind of settling into my pores. But again, that's kind of a minimal issue given that nobody's going to notice that. Other than me, it's not super, super obvious. I think that is it for today and today's observations. So I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning with day 2 of our wear test. We will prime, we will set, and we will see how things go. So I will see you in the morning. Good morning, guys. It is now day 2, and I'm just going to start by using my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. So again, my big issue with the tinted moisturizer at the end of the day yesterday was that I just found it really kind of settled into my pores. I don't want it to do that. It wasn't super noticeable, but I still don't want it to do that. I'm just going to really fill in that area, and I'm just going to use my sponge again today. I'm not really going to change that up much. And one thing I was noticing was it is way too light, but because it's such a sheer light coverage, well, for one, it does kind of match my neck a little bit, but it blends out, so I feel like you don't really notice that the match is completely wrong. I'm not really noticing any difference in application from when I didn't use a primer. It still looks fine. Still quite luminous. It looks nice. Especially in the center of my face, I'm noticing. I do think it looks quite nice. Okay, I'm just going to finish up my makeup and I'll be right back, and then we will start our second day wear test. Okay guys, so the rest of the makeup is on. We just definitely went for a very, very simple look today. I'm just working and it's rainy and gross out, so simple it is. Yeah, so far it looks fine, much like it did yesterday. I did use my Poreless Putty Primer. I did go in with my Dior Powder No Powder, and it looks fine. It looks much the same as it did yesterday. It does look a little more dry around my patch right here, so that kind of, I don't know, I'm very on the fence about this. but it's not clinging right between my eyes, which is also another dry patch, so I'm really not sure. At the end of the day, I think I'm gonna find that I like it. It's not my favorite, but it's a great everyday option if I'm just looking for something simple to throw on. That's what I think I'm going to conclude based on yesterday's wear test and then just casually wearing it the day before. I think that's what I'm going to conclude about this one, but I will definitely let you know more at the end of the day and whether I notice that this really settles into my pores despite using the putty primer and then setting with the powder. I'm kind of wondering, I used my Dior powder because I was wondering if on Wednesday when I wore this, it was perhaps my powder was too heavy and that's what was clinging. So I guess we'll see. But yeah. I will check in with you guys at the end of the day. I will let you know my final thoughts and I will see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, so we have just completed another full day wear test and I have to say, after doing all of my usual steps with primer, a little bit of powder, this little skin tint actually held up much better today. So I don't really count the first day I wore this. I didn't film it. I just kind of threw it on and tried to see how it felt and I noticed some dry patches. But that's kind of the only thing I really noticed. So yesterday I did my full wear test, no prep steps, no primer, setting spray, powder, nothing. And by the end of the day it was pretty worn off. It was a little rough by the end of the day, and I had noticed when I looked up really close, I could see that it had really settled into my pores. It had settled into my pores in a really weird way. It wasn't such that anyone would really notice unless they were this close to my face, and nobody should be unless it's my husband, but that was something I noticed and something I found kind of strange. So today I went in with my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer and I set with my Dior Powder No Powder, and this held up quite nicely. It looks nice, it feels really nice on my skin, it's not drying, it doesn't feel like I have anything on, so I really enjoyed that. I will also say that this dries down quite nicely. It doesn't feel like anything. It really doesn't. It doesn't feel tacky. It feels like, it just kind of feels like your skin when it's hydrated, but not tacky by any means, but it dries down to sort of like a semi-matte kind of a feel. It's hard to describe, but it definitely dries down. I definitely don't feel like it needs powder, but I feel like the powder helps elongate the wear. However, the first day I wore this, when I did use powder, I used my CoverGirl Clean Fresh, and I do think that's a nice powder, but it is a little bit thicker. When I use my Dior Powder No Powder today, this is like the lightest powder I have. This is when I want to take the tacky feel out of something, but I don't want anything heavy. This is the one I grabbed for, and it really paired so nicely with this tinted moisturizer. The Poreless Putty Primer, I think, really stopped it from settling into my pores, so I'm very happy with that. And it actually lasted a lot longer today. It still looks pretty well intact. Again, it is a very light coverage, so there's nothing crazy going on, but I like it. I'm happy with it. I think this is a really nice tinted moisturizer for every day. If you want it to last a little bit longer, I would suggest a very light powder, and I would suggest a good primer with this. Just like a pore fill. If you're like me and you do have some enlarged pores, maybe a good pore filling primer. If you have dry skin like me, I think this is great. It's very comfortable, it's easy to wear, you're not going to get a ton of coverage. That's another thing I noticed when I tried it with a brush and I got like no coverage. I tried it with my fingers and that also gave me no coverage and made a mess. Going in with a sponge seems to be the optimal way to apply this product. I found I got the most coverage that way. It blended out quite easily and went on quite nicely. It felt really nice, and that gave me the most coverage. It's a little bit buildable, but I would in no way say you're going to get a medium coverage with this. I think you're absolutely going to get sheer to light coverage. That's what I think. So I like this. Again, I think this is going to be such a hit during the summer when you just want something that's going to even out your skin and you can carry on with your day. Another thing I really liked about how sheer this is and how light it is even though I find that their color range is kind of off, but even though the color is actually too light for me, I felt like you couldn't really tell once it was all blended out. It still managed to even out my skin tone and it didn't make me look like a ghost. So that worked well for me. I was okay with that. So overall, I quite like this. For something that's a tinted moisturizer that is very light coverage, I am surprised at how much I do like this. I think this is fabulous. Again, I do prefer medium coverage, so it's not going to be something I personally go for all the time. What I can see myself using this for is in the summer, my husband and I love to spend time on the boat, and I can see myself throwing this on because I find whenever we're on the boat, I don't want to wear makeup, but I do want to wear something just to look a little more pulled together. I think this is what I would go for, and then of course an SPF, but I think I really like this. I do. I think I like this. I think this is going to be my perfect summer foundation, and I think I'll really, really enjoy this overall. Again, it's not my favorite, but of all of the light coverage products like this I've ever tried, this is definitely, do I like this as much as my NARS or my Makeup Forever? No, absolutely not. But I do really like it. It's just kind of not fair to compare to those two because I like them so much. But I do think it's a great product. I think it's very comfortable. Again, I do recommend a pore filling primer if you do have enlarged pores. I prefer the Dior powder if you do have drier skin like me, because I did find with a heavier powder it caused the product to cling to dry patches, which nobody wants. But other than that, I really like this. I think it's good. I don't think it's amazing, but I do think it's good, and if you're looking for a tinted moisturizer, I think this is a good option. But that is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate it so, so much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week, and that's it for me today. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!